Yo, 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 this your boy Larry, and I'm chilling and vibing with Foster Hilt. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Thank you for having me on. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I appreciate you for coming on, man. I know you're a very, 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 very busy person.
I always got time to chill and vibe, man. So I appreciate you inviting me on, and I'm looking forward to having the conversation.
Oh yeah. So I found out you was from Canada, man. I had visited there a few times. How's life there now?
Canada's good, man. Everything everywhere in the world's got its pros and cons, right? I enjoy traveling quite a bit, so I've been all around Europe. I've been in the U.S. Tons of different places, and everything's got its own, different beauty, different values, different things. But it's real cool, man. It's cool. Canadians as a whole are generally very laid back people. We're very friendly, we're very welcoming, and yeah, I feel very blessed to be in Canada. It's nice. Sometimes it gets too hot, sometimes it gets too cold, but you know what? Today it's just right. We're chilling and vibing, feeling good, and yeah, it's good, man. It's good.
That's what's up. When I was there, man, it was awesome. Matter of fact, it was when y'all was in the playoffs with Golden State, the first game, game one.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I can imagine the energy. I live a few hours outside of Toronto region where the Raptors play, and yeah, the atmosphere. I mean, we don't have a ton of teams, right? We have one baseball team. We only have one basketball team. Obviously, we got a lot of hockey teams. Canada, they got the hockey figured out. But yeah, it's amazing to watch the energy and watch the fans come out and support. And we don't have a massive population compared to our big brothers down south, but we got the energy and we keep it good.
I definitely got the energy because before I traveled there, I didn't know about Jurassic Park.
It's wild, man. In the playoffs, especially like the Raptors and stuff, they got a whole vibe around them, especially with Drake backing them and everything, and just the vibe that they went through with their playoff runs. And they've always had a solid team there the last few years. And so I don't follow basketball super closely, but I know definitely in that city, it's definitely a cult like following. It's pretty cool to see.
Yeah. I got a question, man. I want to say congratulations first on, saying getting a job with Ecomi. But how did you feel, after finding out you got that position?
It was a really cool feeling. I don't know whether you have ever had something come up in your life that was just completely unexpected and out of the blue. And then once you started doing something or that change happened in your life, you could never, see it any differently. And so I always tell people, I think a lot of people think that I like applied for the job, that there was a posting or there was an opening of some form. And that actually wasn't the case. I was actually approached directly by the team to see if it was a position that I'd be interested in. So that was a really cool feeling. I was actually camping with my wife and my two daughters when I was reached out to by the team to inquire about whether I'd be interested in a position. And so, because it came so far out of the blue, it was never something that I had considered doing. But then, when I started to consider my journey within the community, and I'm sure we'll get into that at some point, you know, it kind of felt like a natural progression for me. And, I had never known that it was even an option for me. But then once I found out that it was, it felt like the stars had aligned and, I started doing it and I've been doing it now for almost the better part of a year. I think we're at 8 or 9 months and, I couldn't picture doing anything else. It's been incredible. It has its ups and downs as every job obviously does. But, as I've always been very adamant on the Ecomi and Vivi community are second to none. So, without them, my job would be absolutely impossible, but they make it easy and they make it enjoyable.
So we're talking about Omi, the Bit4X situation, that
Yeah.
happened. Um, you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, the Bitfork situation was obviously very unfortunate, especially for our US user base. Bitforex was kind of the main exchange that the US user base was able to utilize to exchange the token. And so, obviously having an exchange kind of go under or run into legal issues or really whatever the issue was with their exchange is very unfortunate. And then, of course, it's amplified when we have a community like ours who are largely based out of the United States and many of whom, utilize that exchange for their tokens. So, obviously in the last couple of weeks or so, Bitforex has made some strides in allowing withdrawals for users to withdraw their OMI, which I think is fantastic after 5 long months of people kind of not knowing whether it was going to happen or not. So that was fantastic, but it really does reinforce the importance of self custody. custody for your OMI tokens. And so, something that we've been focused on recently with our collaboration with Stacker, who are facilitating OMI to NFT for the platform, is having that self-custody solution. So everyone's going to be moving their OMI off of the VV app and into a self-custody storage solution provided by Privy. We actually just hosted a space the other day that's available on socials that you guys can check out. And it was very informative just to let people know kind of where we stand on things, because self-custody is incredibly important. I mean, we've seen, the biggest exchanges in the world run into legal issues. We've seen what at the time was the second biggest exchange in the world, FTX, completely go under out of the blue. And so, the safest place for any crypto, whether it be OMI or any token that you hold, is in your own personal wallet, where you have your keys to them. So yeah, I'm glad to see that everyone's getting their OMI back. And obviously it was a turbulent time for that 5-month period, but we're starting to kind of make our way through it. And then it's kind of just reinforced the need for accessibility as a whole, to make sure that people have more options as to how to acquire and utilize the token.
Okay. Since we're on exchanges right now, I gotta ask, man. What about new exchanges? I mean, I know you probably can't talk about it, but do we have any in the near far future?
Near far future. I mean, I'm always hesitant to provide timeframes, obviously, because that just gets us in trouble. We've learned historically that you can have your best intentions laid and then things happen and it just doesn't work out. But certainly accessibility, as we highlighted in January of this year, is really one of our main priorities for the token this year. And so accessibility comes in many forms, whether it be centralized exchanges like you're referencing here, whether it be DEXs, and whether it's a Uniswap pool or whatever the case may be. And then fiat onboarding is also options that we're exploring right now as well. So, obviously people would like exchanges. They'd like access to that liquidity. They'd like the ability to utilize the exchange that they feel comfortable with. So far this year, we've rolled out MEXC and we've rolled out BitGet. Both are global top 12 exchanges. So, certainly not top 3 or anything, but between them, OKX, Gate.io, and Ascendex, a lot of options for users. But we also understand that users have specific exchanges that they would like to utilize, and we're obviously always doing our best to try and build relationships and make moves to improve that accessibility for users. So I don't have any specific time frames or alpha for anyone, but with our move to base and trying to provide more liquidity on layer 2 for users, providing some additional exchanges that we've already had this year, we're certainly on the right path towards continuing to improve that accessibility for the rest of 2024 and beyond.
Okay. Being that you part of the community before you got hired on, what's your favorite collectible on Vivi?
That's a great question. For those of you that don't know my collecting journey, I actually started collecting on VV in April of 2021. So I've been around for a few years now, and it's been really cool to watch the progression of all the licenses and everything that VV has been able to acquire over the years. I've seen some of your previous episodes, and I know that you started in March of 21. So I know that you're an OG yourself. So you've been through all the 2 weeks, 4 weeks between drops, not having a secondary marketplace, all the glitches, all of that fun stuff. So it's been really cool to watch the progression and watching the Master Collector program come out and seeing VV attempt to reward collectors and stuff. But I think for me, I remember some of the OG content creators back in the day. And, we'd always see that rampant speculation about licensors, about Marvel, about Disney. And so many people just felt like it wasn't possible for a company that was in its infancy to be able to secure some of the biggest IP in the world. So, I think for me, having the Spider-Man Secret Rare, I had bought it back in August of 2021 at retail, sold it 3 weeks later. And then, of course, the big boom happened and, it went up to just absurd amounts of money. And that was always a big regret of mine. And I was like, oh my goodness, if I ever get the opportunity again to buy it back, I absolutely will. So I think earlier this year, I was able to pull the trigger on that and reacquire that, which was pretty cool. The partner statue has something that has always had kind of meaning to me. It was, one of the first major drops that my wife and I kind of competed in together, and she was actually able to land one on the drop, and that was just a really cool experience and feeling. And then we've actually been out to Disney together, and we were able to take pictures together in front of that partner statue. And then I was actually able to buy the 1992 partner statue, which is my wife's birth year, early last year, which was really cool because I wanted to buy that for her to thank her in a way for always supporting me. So those are probably my top two. And then just for sentimental reasons, my VV Gold logo that I received from Dan and David when I was in New York back in 2022. That was a really cool feeling for me as a community member. And I felt, internally blessed and grateful to have had that opportunity. And I understand how coveted it is in the community and what it represents for the project as a whole. So I think for me, that's probably the biggest sentimental piece that I hold. And, I'll be holding it for a very, very long time. As you guys can see, I have all of my VV merch and stuff in the background and stuff. I love VV as a company and what they've been doing with digital collecting. So, those are probably my top three.
So, you were talking about the con you had went to. I never been yet, but I know New York Comic Con coming
Oh,
back up, and
you absolutely have to, man. You absolutely have to. I would love to see you there. It's I've always tell people, like, especially if you've never been to a con before, like you can't describe it to someone unless like they experience it. It's just one of those things. It's like almost like an out of body experience where to just be surrounded not even just by the immediate VV community, but just by tens of thousands of people that are passionate about the same fandoms and interests that you have. And then it ignites and sparks of new interests and new fandoms, and you get to learn new things from different people who come from different backgrounds and walks of life, but you're all united in this passion of something similar. And that's so cool. So I've been to Anaheim Decon. I've been to New York Comic Con twice, and I think that might be it. But yeah, New York Comic Con I try and go every year. It's about a 7-hour drive from where I live, so generally I try and drive down just to hang out with the community for the weekend because it's just so cool. And we have absolutely fantastic community members, as I referenced earlier in the pod, and they throw amazing parties, and we do these events and all this kind of stuff, and it's really cool. And it just reminds you, I think sometimes we get lost on social media in the weeds of if things aren't particularly going well, or you don't know who you're interacting with, right? Like, it's like if you never met someone before, you don't know what they're actually like in real life. And so it's really cool to me because everyone that I interact with, that I built relationships with online, you realize when you meet them in person, they're the same people that they were online. And so you feel like you already know them. You feel like you've already, formed friendships. And then you just get to kind of experience that and enjoy that, that week together with them. So I definitely recommend it. If you haven't done it, do your best absolutely to make it out there. I'd love to see you there. So booking the tickets. Let's go. Let's go.
hey, I'm
Yeah,
really gonna try to make it this year, though, man. I'm trying to come and chill and vibe with everybody,
I
because
love it. I
I
love
done
it.
met a lot of people, man. Like I tell everybody, it's like VV done formed a family, man. It's like everybody family now.
Absolutely.
And like and
Absolutely.
like even the people that's not happy with VV, family members have other family members they argue with also. But
Absolutely.
they still love, what I'm saying, what VV doing though. Because they got some people they're not happy, but they still watch. You got some people who are happy and they watch all the time, but it's just amazing how VV just bring everybody together, man. And I just love it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I always believe that the true measure of relevance for something is, whether someone has something good or bad to say about something, are they talking about it, right? And so, even when things haven't been particularly going fantastically for Vivi or Ikomi, are people talking about it, or have people completely forgotten about it and moved on, right? And so, generally, when you're getting bad feedback, you're getting it from people that care enough to give you the feedback because they want to see improvement. If you truly don't care about something, or you truly believe something is a lost cause, you just move on from it, right? So I remind myself of that sometimes because we have bad days, we have good days, and I'm human just like everyone else. And so when someone's having a bad day or they're expressing their frustrations, I try and remember too that we've all been kind of through this journey together, and we've come far, but we still have a long ways to go. And so you just try and take that perspective and remember people have those best intentions. They want to see the project succeed, and sometimes it's just the frustrations that a piece of it or pieces of it aren't happening as quickly as they'd like it to. So I try and keep the positivity up. I try to try and keep it chill. I try and vibe, but I also try and provide the information where I can to let people know that we're headed in the right direction.
And how you feel about the VV verse?
Yeah, the VVverse is an interesting one. I mean, obviously, I work for Ecomi, so I don't have kind of a huge back end role in anything related to VV or the VVverse. I do have VVverse beta access, and obviously, we've all signed NDAs, so we can't say a ton about it. But my limited exposure to it, I don't honestly spend a ton of time in it, mostly just because I'm so busy dealing with Ecomi and Omi stuff. But from what I've seen, it's very interesting. It adds a very engaging level of gamification, which I think is a piece that's been missing from VV to date. I mean, you can obviously drop your collectibles into augmented reality if you're on your phone and things like that, but if you're looking for an immersive experience to interact with other people or create showrooms or even just build like entire environments and sceneries and stuff. I mean, we have the Vaultaholics and some other fantastic community members that build absolutely incredible things, and they're able to share that with other internal testers and things like that. So I've been very impressed by the creativity from the people that have had access, and I'm crossing my fingers and hopeful that more people will be able to get access to it too. A, to see that it's a real thing, because it certainly does exist, and B, just to enjoy it like everyone else that's been able to get access to it thus far.
Yeah. So I got a question. What encouraging words would you give any community member that was looking for advice if they had want to, work for Ecomi or VV?
That's a great question. I mean, for me, it was never a job like I had mentioned that I had actively sought out. So, I can't speak to it from that regard. But I mean, obviously, VV does put out job postings for positions as they become available on their website. I think it's vv.me/jobs. So that's always something that people can keep an eye on if they're curious. Taking on roles as they become available, even if they're not paid positions. We have some, fantastic moderators in the community that help out, on socials, on Discord, and do various activities for the community. So, in my experience, from what I've observed, just kind of now that I'm internal, it's generally the people that are passionate and have a love for the company and the vision, that naturally just it's unlike any job that I've ever had before. It's not a 9 to 5 job. You clock in, you clock out, and you're done with it, right? Like, I've pulled all-nighters to make sure that exchange listings have gone through okay. I've been up till 3-4 o'clock in the morning interacting with people, then having to been up at 4 hours later for interviews and stuff. So like, if you're looking for that stability of just kind of a 9 to 5 clock in, clock out, I mean, it's a global community, right? We have people from all walks of life all over the world, and so you need to be able to interact with people 24/7. It's not the stock market. It doesn't close down for the weekend. If something happens on a weekend or whatever the case may be, something happens on a holiday, you need to be available to react to those things. So I think just finding passionate people that believe in the vision and want to see it succeed. And so if you have the right attitude and mindset, I think that gets noticed. And so it just might simply be that a position's not available at that time, but look to take on opportunities. Reach out to the team if you're ever curious about a position. We are very fortunate that we have tons of community members that reach out to us just to provide us with ideas and feedback, even if they're not looking for employment. And so, the more minds that put their thoughts towards something, the better an idea and a better solution that you're going to come up with. So we're really all in this together. But if you guys are ever curious, just keep an eye out on socials, or if you're ever looking for something specific, you can always reach out to the team and they may be able to give you some more feedback.
Foster, I appreciate you for coming through, man. I know you got to get back to work with Ecomi, but before we go, let everybody know what we doing.
We're chilling and vibing.
Oh yeah, man. Thanks for coming through, man.